outside is frightful, but the fire is so delightful. So why don't you all join us this time on Adeptus, Podcastus. Bloody well nailed it as well. Hello everyone and welcome to this Christmas Day episode of Adeptus Podcastus. This is Remleiz from 40k Theories, and joining me as always is Michael from Tactica Imperialis.
Hello everyone.
You sound absolutely enthralled.
You've even told me there was some funky intro coming. I wasn't expecting that.
I mean, it's Christmas, you gotta do it. But anyway, joining us this week as our special guest is someone you will know very well from If the Emperor Had a Text-to-Speech Device, the voice of Lord Adorable himself, Admiral Burke, aka Super Anchors.
Greetings, fellow listeners, it is I, Rogal Dorn. But more than likely I'll probably just be talking in my normal voice because it's far easier and a lot more, easily communicable.
Of course.
Yeah, actually, that's something that's interesting because obviously you do If the Emperor Had a Podcast and it comes across as one long take.
Oh, yeah?
Could you theoretically do obviously taking out the text-to-speech thing, because that takes time to program and play back.
So, believe it or not, actually, the voice of Rogal Dorn actually is out there in more than one format. Rogal Dorn himself, well, that particular voice I use, has been used to actually read audiobooks, and I can't, for the life of me, remember them, because it's been like 3 or 4 years, the ones I actually read. So... It's actually kind of funny because I've actually done like 5-hour sit-down sessions just talking like this.
Damn.
Yeah, I wasn't sure when Rem made the booking, are we just going to do, because it's the Christmas show, just as a gimmick, an entire episode where it is actually Dawn being Dawn? But that's fine, I don't mind either way. I was just curious what we were going to get.
I mean, I could do it for the entirety of the podcast if you so desire, Imperial Citizen.
You're talking to the wrong species, mate.
Well, shit.
Anyway, so yes, happy Christmas, holidays, or whatever else you may or may not be celebrating. If it's just a normal Wednesday for you, then it's just a normal Wednesday. Enjoy it if you can, and enjoy the day off work you're probably getting. Win.
Yes, and to celebrate this, Games Workshop have actually put out a bunch of Christmas cracker jokes, and most of them are absolutely terrible.
I mean, by the standard of Christmas cracker jokes, you're not exactly setting a high bar here.
I would like to point out the absolutely terrifying model of the goblin and dwarf.
Yes. So Grombrindal's got Grombrindal, not Grombrindal. Grombrindal has gone 40k, I think, for the first time ever. We've seen Grombrindal as an astronaut.
Space Marine outfit, didn't he?
Did he? There was a space suit outfit.
Well, remember, squats.
Yeah, he had a Space Marine power armor, didn't he?
I think he was a tech priest, wasn't he? Well,
this new model is, but I'm saying like previously he did have a Space Marine.
Yeah, you're talking about that one time forever and a half ago where Grombrindal was a Space Marine to celebrate something or other. Well, wasn't that like the? I don't even remember. I'm brain farting super hard here.
It's before my time.
It's this one, Michael.
Wasn't that when they did the destruction of one of their most beloved franchises, and then they tried to make a cheap knockoff that they're now backtracking on?
You mean that spin-off that is exceptionally successful to the point that it can prop up a dying game system on its own back?
Listen, I'm just propagating a meme here.
Yeah. That's not Grombrindal Space Marine, that's the Christmas cracker jokes that you've sent me there.
Fair.
Oh, the image is Grombrindal of Space Marine. Yeah.
Yes.
Have we ever seen that in model form?
Yes.
Right, I just missed that then. But yes, Grombrindal is back in the 41st millennium as creepy-ass tech priest.
A.k.a. squat engineer.
There's a beautiful fan art picture that I think you posted actually earlier in another chat, Rem, where he's just really, really close getting in there, right on that goblin.
It's like, I can taste your uncomfortableness or something. He's just like slowly licking him.
Goblin's small tear.
Yeah.
Was it this one, perchance?
Oh, God. Oh. Why do you do
Yeah, I don't know if Rem's going to be bothered to edit all of this into the visuals, but oh, God.
That is actually horrifying. In full honesty.
Right, we're going to move past that now, quickly, and...
I ask you to delete that, please.
Fine. Whoever you are, artist, delete. Right. So let's. Where should we start?
The squad tech priest model. While we're talking about it, might as well.
The problem is there's not been that many models come out that I can segue into because I've already talked about Slaves to Darkness at length.
He's dressed up as a tech priest, and the tech priests do things for Titans, and hey, we've got new guns for Titans at Forge World.
Good segue.
There you go. That's a very crappy segue, but it still works.
What kind of guns? I haven't looked into this myself.
A Sun Fury Plasma Annihilator and Bellicosa Volcano Cannon, as well as the Macro Gatling Blaster.
Yes, I gotta say, that's what I've always loved that about Imperial naming terminology. I feel like they're just one gun away from naming something Buffalo Ranch.
They very much do go for the pseudo-faux Latin quite a lot, which is why I say, like, Legiones and get flack for it. Because if the Imperium's going to talk in faux Latin, I'm going to try and talk in pseudo-Latin as well.
Yes, they call this lasgun pattern the spicy Polynesian sauce.
Known for its exceptionally high recoil, but exceptional damage if it connects with the face.
Oh, God.
Spicy.
Right, I'm done now. Right. You've had your fill of Tactica says something stupid in their episode. I'm not doing it again. Animaticus, there you go. You've had your meme for the show.
Well, there is always room for more. I mean, this is a 40K podcast anyway. We're always room for funny. I mean, this is the grim darkness of the 41st millennium, am I wrong?
No, you're absolutely correct. Though I do remember one time in the TTS voice chat where you did actually read this out in full character.
Oh, this. do you want me to do it again?
Might as well.
The joys of
it is Christmas.
In the TTS chat.
All right, so there's a lot of things that I've told people that I am going to do. I've said directly to fans. I've shitposted, pardon my language, but I've shitposted on forums. I won't name the forums, but I'm 90% sure you can figure that one out. That I'll do as Rogal Dorn things like City Skylines playthroughs, just because of the most recent episode, the role playing episode. Mm-hmm. But this is this particular copy pasta is near and dear to my heart because it's been asked to be read so many times that I'll just go ahead and do this. Put this on the screen, zoom in a little bit. Last chance to back out. I'm going to demonetize your whole life, your whole career if I read this. You know that, right?
It's Rem show.
Go ahead.
All right, Rem. I'm getting prepared here.
You asked for it.
Rogal Dorn's colossal chain blade, too weighty for any but an elite sisterhood. Raised from infancy to adore the Leviathan at his disposal, expanding ever outward to onlookers, less a flesh length, but rather some unstoppable agency of the sire of the Imperial Fist made manifest. Woman after woman incapacitated or stunned, Dorn's phenomenally resilient organic matter requiring specialized medical and alchemical gear to prevent an ever greater death toll. Mounting from each massive blast of his equipment, dozens of women requiring extensive augmentic rebuild per engagement. Not even death can stay the breathtaking torsion crusher beneath the auric armor. Indeed, the blood of martyrs only strengthens the resolve of Dorn, making it harden his war gear to the point of overstraining the armor's exoskeleton.
I had to mute myself for the entire thing just because I was laughing so hard.
I just sat there in stunned silence. Because it's, as a double entendre, it nearly works. That's the problem. Someone's really tried to make that nearly safe for work. It's like, what the... Oh, right, okay, that's a thing that we now know exists, and, right, yeah, right, Rev, help.
You know, in sort of a terrible segue, I do want to bring up the thing that I talked to you about before the podcast, Rem.
Oh?
My biggest gripe with 40K, if I'm not going to digress, unless you want to get into that later.
No, you can jump into it now if it's fresh in your mind.
All right. My biggest gripe with 40K, and tell me if you have any knowledge on this, is the extreme and overarching lack of naval combat. Of well-written naval combat that isn't used as a subtext or a plot point to carry a ground battle.
Yeah, it is pretty much a subject that's very lacking in regards to the expanded novels and stuff like that. The only book I can think of off the top of my head that features it prominently is The Solar War. Because that was basically the whole point of the novel.
Yeah, it was... It refreshed my memory, but I'm going to take a crack at a guess. But that was the battle for Pluto, basically, right?
Kind of. It was like this just before the Siege of Terra began in its earnest, when the Trade Legions were basically pouring their way into the Sol system.
Okay.
Yeah, so Pluto had fallen back in Praetorian of Dawn, I think.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so we have one book, everybody. We have one book.
Yeah. There is actually another book. There was one actually set about the Gothic War, but it's like a really old novel that for some reason Black Library hasn't actually made available again in ebook format. It's only available in its original paperback format from like 2001.
I mean, the 12th Black Crusade was pretty much entirely made to push the game Battlefleet Gothic Armada. Not the video game, but the actual original rule book and model set.
Back when it was just called Battlefleet Gothic.
Yeah, when it was just Battlefleet Gothic. I mean, I actually have an enormous war fleet of Imperial ships.
Yeah, I'm trying... Sorry.
No, but it's like... the reason that is my biggest gripe with 40K is because the entire premise of 40K is the tales of maybe the occasional hero becoming a focal point, but it's always that the hero is supported by the trillions of guardsmen, the millions of space marines, and the tens or hundreds of thousands of specialist agents who are able to deliver the day, as it were. And to me, the idea of ship combat is you have, in a battle cruiser alone, 60,000 to 120,000 men all working towards one singular purpose. It's the ultimate representation of humanity, human teamwork at a critical moment, and it's not an extended battle. It's if something goes wrong, everyone dies.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think probably part of the reason why you don't see it is because a lot of stories are written either with Space Marine protagonists or melee-focused Xenos antagonists. So orcs, Tyranids, Chaos. I know they're not Xenos, but point still stands. And generally a lot of those races rely on boarding actions. The Space Marines particularly are famous for their boarding actions.
Well, they are Space
The
Marines.
orcs are very good at it. The Tyranids basically same difference. So it's generally a case of the races in 40k aren't geared towards ship-to-ship combat when it doesn't involve melee combat. And I think the second reason is because it's probably really hard to convey the astronomical scale and destruction whilst also keeping track of a battle in a three-dimensional plane compared to the two-dimensional plane of ground battles and boarding actions in corridors. So it's probably I'm not speaking as an author here, I'm speaking as someone who maybe has half a clue, but not really. It's probably a lot harder to write a space battle in terms of trying to up the scale and the ante whilst also keeping it grounded, because it's not grounded, it's in space. Yeah, I don't know.
I guess. No, I mean, I can see that argument. It's a lot, because you aren't wrong in that you are dealing with a tremendous amount of things when it comes to those sort of battles. So,
because
it is. I guess I gotta agree with you. It is a lot to take in as a reader, and it's even harder as an author to very readily convey that to someone who, and I don't mean this in like a deriding or demeaning sense, but like someone who may not be able to really put themselves in a situation where they could understand the sheer destruction or complexity of what's going on.
Yeah, and I think the other thing is that a lot of 40k stories are character-driven.
Yeah.
Where there is a main named hero, they are the protagonist, and they will save the day or die trying. And whether, as you say, there's trillions behind them making it happen or not, they are the person we follow because you can relate to one person's story. The story of some captain on an Imperial battlecruiser, whilst I'm sure it's lovely, the main purpose of those characters in most 40k lore is to be foils of sanity if they're fighting with Space Marines, or a giant dollop of self-sacrifice and or bureaucracy if they're working with the Imperial Guard. That's their job, is to get the ship from A to B and then die.
I kind of counter. I mean, this is me going back to a ground battle, and maybe this is probably the worst way I could go provide a counterexample. But I do use the Siege of Rax as a sort of counterexample. The whole novel is basically about nameless guys hurling themselves to their deaths until the very last part of the whole Siege of Rax, where the Lord Inquisitor comes in.
Yeah, and I think you'd probably have to play it as some sort of like Rax, where you've got a grand commander who doesn't take to the fields, almost one captain and his on her or their crew in the Strategium, almost with the ship battle laid out in front of them on a screen as the ship battle goes on, and you cut from ship to ship as they do important things, and then you bring it back to the Strategium to help you and the audience keep track of where everybody is and what's the evolving narrative and situation. Maybe
that would be an incredible read. Even if I got like 2 or 3 chapters out of that from like even a standard 40k book, I would buy that. I would buy that stuff up immediately, personally. But we've spent a lot of time talking about ships. Is there anything else?
No, but well, we can go from the space down to the ground via the medium of orbital assault and the Blood Angels. Because Forge World have been very, very busy, as, well, always. And as well as the Titan guns, they've brought us the Dawnbreaker cohorts, the vanguard of the Blood Angels, with the wrist-mounted guns, the Falling Star pattern power spears. No, I'm not making that up.
Okay.
And triple-barreled jump packs.
So basically, like, if you cross a Grey Knight with a Sanguinary Guard, in a sense.
Oh, the helmets definitely are.
Take this as you will, but they almost, in a sense, sound like Mandalorians. How you just described them. I'm sorry. Take that as you will.
No,
but
I get what you mean. Yeah.
Like, they have the wrist weaponry, the triple barrel jetpacks, special helmets.
They jump into battle screen for Mandalore.
Oh god.
No, they don't, as far as we're aware.
But yes, the Dawnbreaker cohort, I think, look, honestly, I've been a huge fan of the Blood Angels range for 30k. Like the, what are they called? The Terminators. Yeah, the Blood Angels Terminators for 30k with the shields. What are they called?
Cataphracti.
I think that might be their armour, but no, they have a special name and it's annoying me now, I've forgotten it. They come with all the filigree and stuff like that. Oh, it's going to bug me now. I'm going to go to Forge World's website and look.
Mm-hmm.
But with Sanguinius, those Terminators, I think the Jump Pack Dreadnought, despite the fact it's ridiculous, actually works. The Blood Angels have got one of the best 30k ranges out there, I think.
Oh.
In my opinion.
They do look very cool. I'm looking at them right now. They do look like Mandalorians.
What are they called? Crimson Paladins. That's it. Crimson Paladins. Right, there we go. I'm happy now.
Okay. What if...
But Forge World weren't done with heresy stuff, as we got our first look at some of the miniatures coming with Book 9.
Oh, yes.
And the wings of the Dark Angels in the Road to Thramas.
Yes. I'm more
What's that
excited
all
for
about?
Well, the Thramas Crusade was basically the Dark Angels versus the Night Lords. That was basically what...
So Rem's happy.
More Night Lord stuff makes me very happy.
Is it Night Lord stuff in like a kind of jokey way, or is it like a very serious take on the post-murder / rapist Legion trying to do stuff.
It's a serious take, yes.
Oh, okay. Because
It's written by Forge World. Forge World don't do non-serious takes with the Horus
I mean,
Heresy.
because we have seen we have seen times where
Don't set Remleiz off again.
things have been written in the past.
Don't set Remleiz... No,
And
don't.
that is all I will say.
We've had about 7 episodes of this.
I mean, so long as it's not written by Guy Haley, then most Night Stories have actually been pretty decent. Yeah, I said it.
All I'm gonna say is things about all Space Marine Legions have been written in the past, which have laid the foundation for memes today.
Oh yeah, without a doubt.
Definitely. Though, let's jump back to Thramas, and the first unit I want to talk about is the first of the wings, the Dreadwing, and their Interremptors. I'm saying that very carefully, because they're not intercessors or anything like that. They're the Interremptors of
Even
the
though it's pretty
Dreadwing.
obvious where, that Primarch unit with the plasma blasters got their inspiration from. Or vice.
I mean, yeah, they're basically just 30k Hellblasters. And they are equivalent to destroyers. They go with plasma burners, and they're lions, sort of. If you see these guys, you have absolutely royally cheesed off the lion, and he is going to murder you and leave you as nothing but a pile of ash.
I mean, if you've really cheesed off the lion, wouldn't he be coming after you personally through like 8 brick walls?
That's only if you
Yes.
John Wick his puppy.
I mean, if your name is Conrad Kurz, wouldn't he just be like plowing through buildings to get to you?
Yeah, but sometimes some worlds were just not worthy of that amount of treatment, and the lion
And plus
couldn't be
Gilliman
everywhere
will get
at
in the
once.
way anyway, so...
No, brother, we must give him a fair trial, says Kurz. Kurz sits there in the background with a shit-eating grin. Yes, brother, give me a fair trial, he says, loading a 12-gauge.
And then Johnston saves his life from Sanguinius not 2 days later. Yeah, Unremembered Empire was an interesting one.
Yeah, that was Imperium Secundus.
Yep. Correct.
I believe we call that it's Gilliman's heresy, but the heresy. I mean, Gilliman's heresy is dashed out, and somebody scribbled in crayon Imperium Secundus.
Yeah, I mean, we all remember what Malkador said. It's like, it's Gilliman. What do you think he's doing? He's building an empire. That's a direct quote from Malkador, by the way.
Oh, I'm sure it is. That sounds... It's too accurate not to be.
My lord, I'm rather certain Gilliman is doing as he do.
Accurate.
I mean, at least he's not Ferris Manus just eating sand.
That just puts... Oh, God, there was a kid I actually went to elementary school with who actually ate
What's his
sand.
name? Ferris Manus.
And I'm just imagining... I'm just imagining him as Ferris Manus just sitting in the sandbox eating sand now.
Right, I will get that thought out and move on to
It's
the
nutritious
Dark
and
Angel's
delicious.
character. They've...
Just a sigh of contempt.
Right, so the other thing they told us about the Dark Angels is they're getting a character called an Eschaton, which is basically if you have done an exterminatus on a world, or you've seen a species wiped out to the last in the Dreadwing, you are an Eschaton. And he's 250 years old, plus one of the oldest living Space Marines, which would be a very interesting story to get.
Congratulations, kiddo. You've committed genocide, and you're over the age of 25 by Space Marine standards. Here's
And
a
he's named
cookie.
after a black metal band.
Marduk
Marduk.
Cedras.
Which makes you wonder, is this theme song actually Baptism by Fire?
Why don't they just give him something...
That's probably very appropriate.
I was about to say, why don't they just give him something very Calibanite and just straight up kind of like obnoxiously
'Cause he's
death
Terran.
metal-y, like,
He's
Death
Terran.
Punch Paladin or Forest Burner.
Unfortunately, he is Terran because he's pre-Caliban by the sounds of
Oh,
it.
damn.
Should you call him Bob?
But it's not just the Dark Angel. But it's not just the Dark Angels getting fun stuff. The Legion Architor Bombard is also being added. So Space Marines in 30k now get artillery of their own with one of the wackiest looking
Correct
guns
me
I
if
think
I'm
I've
wrong, but isn't
ever
this
seen.
vehicle just basically an an uncorrupted blighted plague crawler. You know, that Death Guard vehicle that looks like a reverse Sakaran.
It looks like a pustule.
I mean, they're a bit rounder, the Death Guard ones, I think. They're a lot rounder. And bitey.
Yes, but this is basically what an uncorrupted one's looking like, isn't it?
It may well have been the baseline design that became the Plague Burst Crawler. It's certainly possible.
You know, I have a really great way to make some homemade Nurgle vehicles. You take some track, you put a bar of soap in between that track, and you microwave the bar of soap, and there you go.
Okay.
I mean, am I wrong?
I don't know. I've never tried it.
It looks awful. That's all I'm going to say.
Fair. Right. What else have we had? We had Chaos Dwarves in Blood Bowl on Made to Order.
Oh, that looks cool, actually. I'm really... Warhammer 3. I believe Chaos Dwarves are coming to Warhammer 3. Not 100% on that.
Ooh.
But
that would be fun.
But I really want to see Babylonian dwarves.
Don't the Chaos Dwarves still have a Forge World model range that you can use for Age of Sigmar?
Yes. The Legion of Asgore, they're called.
How did they survive Sigmar? I mean, the world just exploding. Like, how did they escape? Oh, they didn't?
They didn't. Everything except Sigmar, Archaon, and a few gods, and also Gotrek, because Gotrek died. Everyone died. Tyrion, Teclis, Sigmar, Nagash, Alariel, the Chaos Gods, because they're not part of it, really. The Mortarchs, thanks to Nagash. Gotrek, because he's Gotrek. And that's about it.
Wait, real quick. Didn't Teclis, actually explode in the form of a magical nuclear bomb due to trying to absorb way too much magic?
Well, he's now a god of light and the god of enlightenment and magic, so, maybe.
I guess if you just absorb so much magic, you actually explode into a god. That's a thing.
I mean, that's kind of how Nagash worked.
Nagash is a special boy. We don't talk about him.
Yes. Especially not in front of Cetra.
Super Necromancer.
Oh god, Cetra. He's the greatest.
And he's obviously now with Old World. He's technically back.
He is, as a Sigmarine.
No, I mean in Fantasy the Old World.
Oh!
I don't mean in Age of
Yeah.
Sigmar. That joke, we spoke to David Gamma about that. That reference, he's not allowed for it to be Cetra. I think was how I think he wrote it with the intention of it being Cetra, or just as a meme, but it's not Cetra. It's just a reference.
Oh, what did he say in regards to Ikrit Claw being Ikit Claw?
He wanted it to be Ikit Claw, but I don't think he's allowed to let it be Ikit Claw. I think it's designed to be Ikit Claw, but I don't think he's allowed to call him Ikit Claw.
So I survived the death of the universe by just getting my name changed. They didn't suspect a thing.
Skaven. Skaven can survive anything.
They're the mammalian form of cockroach.
In a way. But I did also pick up a telephone and call, the Eldari from across the universe.
Yeah, that was weird.
And canon, by the way.
Yeah.
Oh well.
So what else is on the model list? What's on the chopping block for new stuff?
It's a bit of a quiet time, obviously, with it being the run-up to and then the period after Christmas. So we know Slaves to Darkness will probably get Chaos Knights, Chaos Warriors, and the Lord on Karkadrak put out as separate kits because they're in the start collecting eventually, hopefully.
Have you seen the new? Have you seen the new Primaris Space Marine Lieutenant model?
Because there's one every year.
There's about one every...
Codex Primaris Lieutenant. That's what we need.
Someone will make it. Let's see. So, AOS has had a big balance pass, mainly nerfing Slanesh and changing a few little things, which is good because Slanesh was a little bit silly out of the gate. I think they just nerfed the summoning system mainly. Court of the Blind King is out, and I'm getting Court of the Blind King, the Einar Deepkin novel. Sorry, I've been waiting for that novel for a year. I'm getting it
one
now.
thing that did also come out. For those interested in reading about Chaos Sisters of Battle, the short story Heart and Soul, is actually available on its own from Black Library now, as opposed to just being part of the Sisters of Battle omnibus.
That is something I actually just recently learned about. Apparently, the Sisters of Battle actually, quote, internally know that Sisters of Battle fall to Chaos, but at the same time, they have random women just in the background to march up and replace people who fall to take up their
Pretty
name.
much.
And everyone acts
it's like, oh, Sally fell to Chaos. You're Sally now. Okay. Now go and find Sally and kill her.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Well, that's a way of doing it.
You know, I guess that it allows them to say that they never fell to Chaos because once they did, they were not Sally anymore.
Ah, the Dark Angels approach. Got it.
Yeah, everyone knows about Muriel for some reason.
Probably because they've tried so many times to kill her that it's not worth trying anymore.
No, but she does lead her own warband now.
Doesn't surprise me.
What else is new on the front? I'm eager to know. Otherwise, I'm going to go into the lore. I'm going to start divulging into theory crafting.
That's kind of it. But GW very kindly put out a year in review set of articles. So if we wanted to look back on the last 12 months of utter insanity, then it's a lot easier for us to do so. Because a lot happened this year. More than I think anyone really remembers.
Have you seen that new Primaris Lieutenant?
I'm sorry.
I'm surprised you're not talking about the modular terrain that you can build walls out of.
Oh
no.
You have my attention, and so much more. Please.
He's going to erect his defences.
We must harden these fortifications, brothers. We must erect these barriers.
Pretty much.
I see. With that being said, though, I did want to ask you, Rem. So I did want to ask you a question because I don't know if this question's been posed to you, but if we're done with all the stuff, because this is a long one, I wanted to ask you, both of you, do you think Dorn in the actual canon is alive?
Personally, no.
I think it's unlikely. I'm not going to say absolutely no, but I think if he returned, I would be very, very,
the thing regarding
very
Dorn in the actual canon is like, the term I like to use is he is Schrodinger's Primarch. Like, he is alive, dead, missing, and found, never found, and up, down, left, right, all at the same time.
No, he simply...
All in one book.
He simply took up an oath of silence, and he's currently residing in the Imperial Palace as we speak.
Is one argument, yes. Because there is one official quote of him saying, when he's talking about the past 10,000 years, it's like, but where have you been for the last 10,000 years, Dorn?
I've been hiding in silence to atone for past sins. Also, I have yet to shower, so you may want to step back a few feet.
Yes, you smell worse than Mortarion.
Oh, God. That's
low.
That's very low.
The funny thing is, in Lost and the Damned, Mortarion is confirmed to smell so bad that the smell actually makes Space Marines vomit through their helmets.
I'm just imagining Mortarion walks past, just like a Luna Wolf or something, and then just suddenly inside...
I should clear this is Demon Mortarion who smells that bad.
I get it, but it's just like he walks past like a Black Legion member on the way to meeting with our favorite armless loser, and the Black Legion just vomits, not through the grill in his helmet, but actually like his eye sockets, just projectile vomit.
I imagine it all being like that. You know those pictures of pufferfish when they're just vomiting water?
Yeah.
It's basically just that.
Oh, God.
Just sort of caption saying, "Whoa!"
Oh my god.
Also, to anyone who's eating their Christmas dinner right about now, I apologise.
Also, why are you having Christmas dinner and listening to a podcast? I mean, fair enough, if you're having Christmas dinner,
Some people
that's
are
fair
lonely.
enough. But
Don't
Christmas...
discriminate against them.
Yes, if you're having it on your own and you want to listen to Adeptus Podcastus, that's totally fair enough. But if you've got people around, put the computer down, put the phone down. You know, it's Christmas.
What, you've never had the Christmas awkwardness where your uncle's yelling about politics again? That happens all...
No, because all of my family actually at least the family that come around for Christmas, actually agree with each other. But we're not going to talk about the British election right now.
Table.
You've clearly never experienced a Midwestern American family get-together.
I can't say that I have.
Someone comes out of the closet, someone yells about politics, grandma has a heart attack. It's real family fun.
Sounds a little bit less awkward, but, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's almost that element of British stiff upper lip politeness if it's too awkward to have the conversation.
Oh,
sometimes.
do you remember that cart door ice cream advert? You know, it's like, Dad, can you pass the gravy? He's not your dad. We never knew who your dad was. It's like, it's like what?
What?
Yeah, that was actually...
Was that a thing?
Yeah, that was an advert for ice cream here in this country, yeah.
When?
That's fantastic.
I think it was cart door.
Oh, God. Oh, God, just British advertisements.
Yeah. Literally, you type in cart door advert, the first one is, he's not your dad advert. This one.
I can't actually believe they did that. I'm actually, like, befuddled. Awestruck, even.
Yeah, because it's like, there are some things you shouldn't
Right.
share, and there are some things you definitely should, like cart door ice cream.
Oh my god, they actually did it. That's great. I love it. I can say nothing but I love it. Anyway, getting away from awful topics such as this, I would like to ask the question, Rem, do you believe that Thorgrim's death was fucking bullshit?
Who's deaf?
He's not dead.
Thorgrim Grudgebearer.
Oh, Thorgrim.
Oh, I think he said Fulgrim.
No, not Fulgrim. Thorgrim Grudgebearer. Do you agree with me that his death was the singular most bullshit point of the end times?
Remind me how that happened.
Alright, so, Master Assassin tries to assassinate him. Thorgrim breaks his spine on his knee. Snitch, however you pronounce his Skaven... Snitch, yeah, that guy. Master of Sneaky Stab Clan sneaks up behind him as he's breaking other Master Assassins' back on his spine and knifes him right in the back. Just dead. Immediately.
I mean, given the Skaven's aptitude at killing the stunties and also the fact that he stabbed him in the back whilst he was dealing with something else because he was distracted...
And given this is
BS.
Deathmaster Snitch we're talking about, who is like the premier Skaven assassin, I mean, it's not like he just died to just random Skaven slave number 247.
And probably Shadowblade had I assume it was Shadowblade, the elf assassin that we're referring to, had a bloomin' good go at him first, so he was probably a little bit weakened already.
I get that, but if anything, I wish Thorgrim had died facing Grimgor. Honestly. That would have been...
I thought Grimgor was dead.
Right, but I'm saying, during the end times, if he had faced Grimgor and died facing Grimgor in a truly grudge-barren old book time, that would have been such a better death.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah,
like,
though it is kind of, it's the end times. You don't always get it to die the way you want to when it's the end of the world. Was it just basically a
quote of like, oh crap, we're destroying the world, let's kill off everyone we can?
But this... Okay, so... My counter-argument to that is that sort of falls down into the whole Game of Thrones argument, and we saw where that went. And it's fantasy.
And we saw where the end times went.
Going back to Game of Thrones, when you actually have someone competent doing it, it's good. But when you leave it in the hands of people who don't know what the fuck they're doing, that's when you get to...
I want to destroy those men. Yes. Dave and Dan, if you're listening to this, as unlikely as it is, I can never forgive you for what you did to that series. Ever. Like, I am so glad that every piece of work you've touched so far has had you ejected from it. As vitriolic as that sounds. Your gross incompetence, your inability to bring on other talent because of your self-serving writing style and inability to just work with people, it is astounding how terrible you are. Sorry, you've touched a nerve, Rem.
No, I agree. The last season of Game of Thrones was such a dog shite. Let's be bloody honest. Like, one line that still pisses me off to this day is like, the whole world is built on stories, and who has a better story to tell than Bran the Broken? Literally everyone else!
I will... oh god, please, you actually made me have a small aneurysm there.
Sorry.
Like, I can't even begin with that. Like, but that's where I'm at when it just sort of reeling it back to Warhammer Fantasy and the end times, and why that was so bad was because it had moments like that where it was just, all right, Thorgrim's dead, who are we going to kill next? It felt like that. The thing is, sure, it's the end times, but you also have to understand this is a fantasy realm. It's meant to be taken in by the viewers that this is the end times. We want to have these truly mythos, these legendary moments, which will just have you citing back to them repetitively in the future. Like, do you remember that time Thorgrim and Grimgor faced on the field of battle, completely surrounded by Ironbreakers and Black Orcs, and they fought, to a near standstill for 3 whole days, and then it was only Grimgor and Thorgrim left. He had fallen out of his throne, and he was forced to face Thorgrim on foot, but lo and behold, Grimgor eventually landed a killing blow after an epic struggle. I mean, as opposed to man dies with knife in back. Like, come the fuck on.
Yes, that's fair, but think about how long fantasy character roster is / was. It's a long ass roster.
I get that, but Thorgrim, dwarves, dwarf, orc, dwarf.
I mean, to be fair, the Skaven and the Goblins have just as much a claim on being the number one enemy of the dwarves as the orcs do, in many ways.
The Skaven rose to prominence, I want to say after half of Warhammer Fantasy's life cycle, at the very least. Like, dwarves and orcs have always been there. They've been there since day one. It's not like...
I get it. I get it. I mean, I didn't read the End Times, and I find it really weird that suddenly we had a double-faced heel turn with Tyrion and blimmin' Malekith, where Tyrion becomes the avatar of Cain and is the ultimate bad guy, and Malekith is actually the Phoenix King all along, and the entire fantasy universe of Malekith is evil, Malekith, yada yada yada, is all actually... He was actually right all along, guys.
Wait, I
found weird.
The double turn. That means that Malekith was Stone Cold Steve Austin and Tyrion was, Bret Hart.
Except it wasn't as anywhere near as well executed as that. Because Malekith, for 30 years, there was no evidence that Malekith had a single shred of good in him. At all. And there was no evidence of why his ascension to the Phoenix King was different, was because Asayan was testing to see if he could actually stand the heat. But he didn't do that to anybody else. He just did it to Malekith. Which is just weird.
I think Asayan was just more, irritated by the fact, like, this guy's meant to be the Phoenix King, but we know he's having an incestuous relationship with his mother.
And Tyrion, forget Malekith for a second, Tyrion, the paragon of warrior virtue, the guardian and probably consort of the Everqueen, the champion of Ulthuan, just goes and gets the Widowmaker. The Widowmaker. I know he's the last of Aenarian's line, and I know his connection to Aenarian, but why would he go and get the Widowmaker? It makes no sense for the character we'd seen before End Times Cain. There was no evidence of, he's got a bit of a concern that he might not be enough.
But this is just feeding into what I was saying. The End Times was an absolute derailed train wreck of a propane... It was an entire train, like an entire country freight train full of just multiple propane cars crashing off a bridge into a deep valley.
It was like that. Do you remember the movie Unstoppable had Denzel Washington in it?
No, I don't remember that, actually. I'm sorry.
It's a movie about a runaway train loaded with all sorts of explosives and dangerous chemicals, and they have to stop it from derailing. And they do. But it's like if that had gone off the curve and crashed into the giant town full of dangerous, lethal, toxic, explosive chemicals and all that stuff, and it didn't work. And it worked so poorly, and this is not to say that it was badly written, because I'm sure it was very well written, but the pacing, and Gathering Storm had the same problem, by the way. The pacing was so rushed that it couldn't sustain itself without having to plot contrive and yada yada its way out of a lot of situations.
In the defense of Gathering Storm, the first book was actually decently paced. The first one. The others weren't.
And then it went off the rails. But the point being that End Times crashed so hard and Fantasy's death was taken so badly that Sigmar needed a year to even begin to recover. And that's mainly because they shafted Sigmar, gave it no lore and basically no miniatures either. It was a bad... Stupid. Sigmar wasn't helped out of the gate, but the way End Times went out really soured a lot of the community toward whatever came next. But anyway.
Oh, God. I mean, I also gotta kind of say, like, because I remember, like, I wanted to get into fantasy at the time, and then I remember, like, the two factions that I wanted to play was Bretonnia and the Dwarves. I liked both their aesthetic a lot. But then the Age of Sigmar happened, and then I read into the post-Age of Sigmarification of fantasy, and the Dwarves, from what I had read at the initial lore, was they literally just turned all into Slayers, basically.
That was at the time. We've now got the Caradron Overlords, the steampunk guys, with the airships and stuff. And we've also got the Dispossessed who fled with Sigmar to Azir, and are sort of the classic dwarves. There aren't many of them, but they're the sort of builders of the free cities. Their work clans are the ones that build the free cities now.
Yeah, I mean, that's I want something dwarfy, and that was completely taken away from me, because it just showed a bunch of loincloth, mohawk-wielding dwarves just standing on top of crates of gold. It's like, dwarves have their societies become unsettled, and now all they do is they fight as mercenaries. And I'm like, well, this is so not what I wanted. I'm sorry.
Yeah, they were Grimnir's dwarves. They were exclusively Grimnir's dwarves. Grungni's dwarves became the Dispossessed in the Caradron, particularly. I mean,
technically Grimnir was replaced by Gotrek, just pointing that out.
Not in AOS's sense, because, Gotrek was the avatar of Grimnir in fantasy. Then Grimnir was back in AOS as a god. He's part of Sigmar's pantheon, but he got bored, so Sigmar sent him off to fight Volcatrix, and they both died, and these sort of shards of Grimnir were shattered all over the place and sort of became Urgold, and that's what the Fireslayers are after. Gotrek still has the Master Rune of Grimnir in him and can unlock the power to go Super Saiyan.
I feel like that's a really shitty reference to the Eldar's Avatar of Cain. I am so sorry. That is almost...
no, there is actually an Avatar of Cain. The Daughters of Cain. It's a statue that's animated by blood magic and goes around carrying a heart and swinging a massive sword and shooting blood out of its eyes.
What have they done?
In my opinion, it's really, really good stuff, but I admit not everybody has to like it. I really like it, but I know not everybody does.
The best way to describe it, it's an acquired taste.
It's high fantasy.
I'm a traditionalist in the sense of I liked mixed fantasy. I really enjoyed the whole aesthetic of dwarven gyrocopters, thunderers, the Empire sort of getting a lot of technology from the dwarves, but taking basic concepts and then adapting them in ways that dwarves never would have thought of. The elves being hyper-xenophobic isolationists to the point of like, why would you even send them food, even though it could help everybody? It's just, and then the dark elves being, dark elves. Lokir Felhart, my favorite villainous character, honestly.
I have that model. It's an awesome model.
He's such a good villain because he's so straightforward. Like, it's so funny how great he is because of how he's a pirate. He's a dark elf pirate. That's it. That's all there is to him. What more do you need to know? Go to hell. Just, he has 2 blades. They're called the Crimson Blades. He stabs people. He gets stabbed. His face comes back. You have no chance. Die. That is him. Sorry. I went off there a little bit.
No, that's fine.
No, it's fair. And I completely get why some people didn't like what AOS became compared to fantasy, because it's a different style of fantasy. You like it mixed. The high fantasy works for me, but I do miss some of the old grit that came with the realism of Ulthuan. I know, Ulthuan realism, I know. And the Empire and the old world. I really liked the old world, and Total War, Warhammer, and Warhammer 2, which is still getting updates to this day, have proved that there is still that thirst and enthusiasm for the old world.
That's actually where I keep going back to that, because it's always funny to play as different races and see what horrible monstrosity of a political landscape will happen this time. You ever seen Archaon ally with the Empire? Because I have.
God. Mind you, that being said, like years and years ago, this is back when Warhammer Fantasy 5th edition was still relatively new. I went to my local games workshop, this is before they had, the cunt of a manager. But yeah, it's a reference to a very old episode, but yeah.
Episode 3.
A long time ago. But anyway, going back to my point. So we had like a mixed game. It was Bretonnians and High Elves against the Empire and Chaos. It was just weird.
I actually kind of want to now hear... I mean, please finish the story, but when you're done, I do want to hear both of your greatest tabletop gaming moment, actually. I'm curious.
Oh, I've got 2.
That was pretty much my story. It was just that, talking about weird alliances, just having Empire and Chaos back in 5th edition, even though legally you couldn't actually do that. Like, in terms of the game rules, I mean.
Archaon! Sigmar!
No,
my friend,
it's actually before Archaon actually came into existence as well. So I remember there was one guy, he had... what was that? The Tzeentch Sorcerer on the Dragon. Egron Van Horseman. Yeah.
That's it.
Which is a fucking... I wish that got a new model, because that was such an awesome model. I know he got a novel, actually, didn't he?
Maybe.
He was such an awesome character. Shouldn't they stop using him? Anyway, Michael, your tabletop moments. Go on.
I kind of have 2 that sort of follow on the same theme. One was... Well, actually, I've got 3, but 2 follow the same theme. 2 of them follow on the old themes from 40k and fantasy of running things down, sweeping advances and whatnot. So, back in 5th edition 40k, I played Orcs. I still play Orcs a bit. And I had a game where 2 Death Copters were charged by and then sweeping advanced and ran off an entire 20-man squad of Kroot.
Oh, wow.
In one go. So they got charged, killed like 1 or 2, they failed the morale check and I sweeping advanced them despite being initiative 2. So that was a moment. I also had a moment where I went to Warhammer World and my shiny new unit of Dragon Princes got charged in the back by Spider Riders and run down immediately.
Oh, God.
I just sat there, I was like... I realised what the Goblin player was doing, and I realised that charge was on, and I sat there oh. Because when you get charged in the rear, particularly in fantasy, where there's a +2 combat resolution modifier, and you get less attacks back, it's just a case of, I'm screwed. I've realised what's happened now, and I'm screwed. My most recent one is the Little Namati That Could, where I had an Idneth Deepkin Namati Thrall basically solo a Savage Auric big boss through the power of nonsense, which was absolutely hilarious to watch the axes and spells and shots just fail and fail and fail as this now Lanmari blade went to town on this Savage Auric. It was very good fun. And then he managed to kill I think he killed a giant as well, but it was on its last wound that charged him. And then not get fallen on. So yeah, that was a funny game. I still lost, but
I mean, you had a guy not die to something terrifying twice, and kill them both. Very nice.
My proudest gaming moment was probably when I killed a vampire lord with a horse.
Just a horse.
Well, basically, it was like a unit of Chaos Marauders on horseback. The riders missed their attacks, but the one horse hit with the attack and took the last wound of the vampire lord.
Oh, wait, no, I just came up with an even better one. Sorry, finish that one.
And the guy had like a 2+ armor save, and like I think he had like a reroll as well from an unmodified save from a magic item. I can't remember which, but he failed it. And because, you know, back then, if your general dies, then every unit has to take a leadership test, otherwise it's destroyed.
Oh God, I see
dead.
where this is going.
Welcome to Undead Instability.
And pretty much every unit failed.
Oh no.
So dear.
I was very happy for my horse that day. It's like, good horsey, you did well. You get extra grain tonight and you won't be turned to glue.
I have a good story for you. So it was me and my buddy. We were playing against two orc armies, two huge orc armies. This was a real old, back in the day, 4th edition Warhammer 40k. I played Tau. He played Space Marines. I still have all my Tau models.
Yay.
But they brought somewhere in the neighborhood of like 8 Squigoths and like 4 Gargants or something like that, or Big Stompas or whatever they were, whatever. Stompas. Yeah, Stompas. They brought a lot of shit. But if you remember the rules back in the day for snipers, so my buddy had brought a rather sizable scout Space Marine recon contingent with sniper rifles. And I had brought the Shadow Sun Farsight Death Ball. That was a thing.
It's no longer legal now because you can't put the two of them together.
But you can see where this is going. So we had on my side of the field a Death Star that was invisible, had 2+ armor saves, had a 3+, or it was, I forget, it was something invulnerable save, and then Feel No Pain on top of that and a bunch of other shit. And he had a boatload, he had nothing but scout snipers and terminators, and he had like 1 regular squad just to hold objectives. I think it was turn 3, but every single Squigoth had been killed due to the XX damage of the sniper rifles, where they just died instantly. And Shadow Sun had landed turn 2 and vaporized, I think 75 or 3 of the 4 Stompas by herself with twin link fusion blasters. I can tell you because the game store manager had walked up to us because he was kind of a cunt like your guy was, and he said he scoffed and said, "Oh, good luck, kids." And we were really young. I was so happy about that because the angry look on the orc players' faces was something you savor when you see something like that happen.
So, into my veins you go.
The sweetness of your defeat shall fuel me more.
Basically, you could argue that his normal calm was compromised.
Oh, God.
Sorry.
My normal calm had been compromised, and I was something beyond furious. I'm furious now, can't you tell?
You're just filled with emotion.
Yeah, I actually have a stomper.
Sorry.
I actually have a plastic stomper, and I only used it about 2 or 3 times because the first time I used it, someone parked a Marauder bomber right behind it and refused to move and just kept getting stuns and immobilized, and I couldn't turn around. I was like, just get lost, you stupid Marauder bomber. Go away. Yeah, that wasn't a fun game. Though, if you want to talk about units going on a rampage, how about the game where I killed full, like, on a Demon Mount Archaon and Scarbrand twice, and the Keeper of Secrets in successive turns? With 1 unit.
Like, did they get a promotion?
So, welcome to the absolute nonsense that was the beginning of Age of Sigmar, when Dark Elves had the potential to do some utter nonsense. Executioners, who have been nerfed into the floor, had the ability where on a 6+ to hit, they did 2 mortal wounds, which is a thing 40k has nicked, you know what those are. So you could do 2 mortal wounds if you rolled a 6 to hit, and they had 2 attacks a throw. I had 15 of them. And then I buffed them with a Cauldron of Blood to give them re-rolls. And then I gave them a command ability to allow them to attack twice. And it wasn't like twice attack, wait, attack. It was attack in succession because they hadn't balanced this game at the time. So I had 60 attacks, hitting on 3s, re-rolling, and every single 6+, and I think I had a +1 to hit lying around from time to time, caused 2 mortal wounds. So, Archaon, with 20 wounds flying his big demonic mount, dead in 1 hit. Ran across a bit, ran forward, ran into Scarbrand, dead in 1 hit. Ran into a Keeper of Secrets, dead in 1 hit. They then summoned Archaon again, and Scarbrand again, because Beastmen was stupid back at this time, and I think I killed Scarbrand again.
I gotta say, that's genuinely a very, very special type of why. Just why?
Yeah, early gaze Sigmar was stupid. I had a unit of Cold One Knight sit in a bush and tank an entire Beastman army for 3 turns. I just got this
mental image of all these executioners just singing the I'm a Lumberjack song from Monty Python. As they go around chopping people's heads, it's like, I'm a lumberjack and I'm okay. I sleep all night and I kill all day.
Oh God, please, you're giving me an aneurysm.
Again, I'm sorry.
Oh, my brain.
Though I think one of the best moments of pure satisfaction, that was just ridiculous, but the pure satisfaction moment was the first time I ever cast the Purple Sun of Zerus. Not the Endless spell, the original Purple Sun of Zerus back in Fantasy VIII. And I lined up my wizard. I sent a wizard on horseback, bolting down the left flank, and cast the Purple Sun and rolled it across this Ogre Kingdoms line. And the way it worked at the time was you took an initiative test, or you died. Ogres are initiative 2. Yeah, there weren't many left after that. It was very satisfying to do that.
I mean, I suppose you could be thankful he wasn't running Lizardman Saurus, because if I recall correctly, aren't Saurus like initiative 1?
I don't remember, but they don't have 3 wounds a throw.
True.
And also every unsaved, I think every model that dies to a death magic spell because of the lore attribute, you get a power dice back. So I basically cast this ridiculous spell with all my power dice, and then refueled my entire magic pool and did a full magic phase on top. It was hilarious.
Jesus.
Sounds a...
Yeah, fantasy magic was very, very
You
sick.
can see why I'm not the biggest fan of more modern Age of Sigmar stuff. I mean, I'm sure...
No, that was fantasy. That was fantasy.
Oh, God. Brain. My brain hurt.
Yeah, the Purple Sun in AOS is a lot nicer. It's on a 6 you die, not on an initiative test.
Oh, okay. Big brain. I have big brain syndrome right now.
Yeah, it's
This
fine.
is big brain time. There you go, that's one for the meme quota.
Yeah. So, Rem, did you manage to finish the first wall?
I did indeed.
You could call it the Great Wall.
Right.
The Great Wall of Dawn.
Yes.
So, is it time to slap on
It
the
is
spoiler
indeed.
warning?
So, we're entering the spoiler room brawl in 3, 2, 1, ba-ba-bum. Right, so as I mentioned last time, Euphrates Keeler was basically going around investigating a bunch of cults raised in worship to the Emperor. Aemon Tyramakian's basically like saying, we really need to get rid of this shit, Malkador. And Malkador's just like, yeah, well, we can't really do it right now. You know, if we survive the siege, then we'll do something about it. But there's a bit later on where one of these cults is performing a ritual, like it's a mass prayer session rather. But this prayer session, all the cultists start having flies crawling over them, and Euphrates Keeler actually vomits up a giant maggot which turns into Korvax's Utter Blight.
Yeah, you mentioned Korvax last time, I think. The first demon that we've ever seen manifest in the Imperial Palace.
And so the custodians, obviously try and fight him off because, hey, you can't have that fucker running around. But Euphrates, faith in the Emperor, does help to kill Corvax. Like, she stuns him in place before Aemon Tyraka gets the killing blow in. But just before the group started praying, Aemon actually turns around and asks Malkador, why are you letting them do this prayer stuff? And Malkador's just going, well, we know demons are susceptible to psychic power, consider this weapons research.
Oh my god.
Because Malkador does point out that if the Webway project was never damaged by Magnus fucking up, he goes on to basically explain what the whole point of the Astronomicon was going to be.
Ooh!
Basically, the Astronomicon was going to be a massive weapon to purge the warp.
Now you're just imagining Malkador sitting in a chair thinking for a moment, you see, the secret ingredient is genocide.
Pretty much.
Welcome to the Imperium.
Yeah, because, as we know, the light of the Astronomicon does cause immense pain and can even kill demons, as shown within the Black Legion novels.
That's why you don't have demons popping up on Earth. True fact.
Among many other reasons,
So basically the idea was they were going to use the Astronomicon to basically concentrate all of that energy into basically like a giant weapon to, well, for lack of a better term, like a giant EMP blast into the warp.
And they thought Magnus was powerful enough to do that?
They didn't go into much more detail than that, but I guess that was the original intention of it. Like, just use Malkador basically as a battery for it.
I think that would explain why there's... Oh.
Magnus, your purpose has been made clear. You must wear this ceremonial outfit and ascend to the Golden Throne.
It's just a picture. It's just a T-shirt with Duracell on it.
You gotta give him the bunny ears as well.
What's interesting is because the Golden Throne burned Malkador out and killed him. What if that was the Emperor's way of getting rid of Magnus?
Possibly, but you could also argue that... You could argue that the reason why Malkador was burned out was not so much that he couldn't psychically handle the power, it's just he was just so damn bloody old. That he just kind of...
True, but you're asking a person to nuke the warp.
Yes.
I mean, theoretically, if the Inquisitor games are anything to go by, we could have just, bred the perfect anathema.
I don't really take the Inquisitor games as canon just because of how much they get wrong.
How bad they were.
Not just that, just how wrong everything is. Like, yes, this is a Tyrant-class cruiser. It is also known as a Fortress Monastery of the Inquisition. Like, that's not a Fortress Monastery. That's a Tyrant-class cruiser.
You make me so angry with your inaccuracies.
Or how about, oh yes, we're a Space Marine chapter, we're the Chamber Militant of this particular division of the Inquisition. Like, no, you're fucking not! Unless you're the Grey Knights, Death Watch, or the Adeptus or attached, you are not a fucking Chamber Militant, piss off.
Yeah, the Dominors can have lackeys, but not a Chamber Militant.
Or, like, using, just normal aircraft for void travel.
Remember, this goes back to what I said about lack of naval combat. Could you imagine how much easier things could have been if they had just, nuked the ship from a distance?
Yeah. But going back to First War, there is some other stuff. Like, including one or two major plot twists. Because, as I mentioned previously...
You mean aside from the Astronomicon being a warp nuke?
And Magnus a Duracell battery.
Because, as mentioned last time, we spent about roughly a third of the book following this one Imperial Army regiment just trying to get to the war zone. And they reached this big muster point because Rogal Dorn had set up a bunch of reserves of the Imperial Army to basically act, to charge the enemy from behind when time called for it. So they're surrounding this big psychic shield that hides them from view and stuff like that. And as everyone's preparing to set off for battle, surprise, this regiment's actually declared for the War Master! It's like, fucking hell, really?
So it's Tyrock Fields all over again.
Pretty much. Like, like, their commander shouts, for the War Master, and a whole bunch of explosives go off in the camp, killing most of the army there. It's like, whoops. Never mind.
Yeah, it's Tyrant Fields 11 again. Good.
But that's not the weirdest bit. The weirdest bit comes right at the end. You know, you got the, like a hive city burning, you got a random old woman just sitting there. All of a sudden, you know, cut in the fabric of reality, someone steps out, woman just looks at it and is like, huh, a man stepping out of thin air. Now I've seen everything. You're not surprised? Not after all the shit I've seen. What's your name, by the way? Oh, my name. My name's John.
Ah, John Prodman, of course.
Right, so John Grammaticus is reincarnated as an old woman.
No. He came out of the webway in front of an old woman.
Oh, sorry, got that the wrong way around.
Yes.
You're not surprised?
So
And
John,
after all the shit
John
I've
Grammaticus
seen-
is on Terra.
John
Fine.
Grammaticus is now on Terra.
I'm just
I
imagining.
mean, isn't he one of the names that... No, it's only Pius that's supposed to throw himself in the way of the Emperor.
It's
not
supposed to
John
be Pius,
Grammaticus.
yes.
Yeah. Though those two kind of go together, because hang on. John Grammaticus was rescued by Eldrad
And Bethuzanaric, yes.
and Bathsanaric at the end of Old Earth,
Yes.
and now he's on Terra.
Yes. Because Bethuzanaric went and rejoined the Word Bearers in his mission to try and kill Lorgar.
Accurate.
And Eldrad's off doing Eldrad things.
Why,
finishing off the
slow
Cabal.
down. Why are the word bearers trying to kill their dad?
Because
One word bearer is.
Bethuzanaric is a loyalist,
Oh, okay.
but a secret loyalist.
Father, I would have word of you about the Chaos Gods. By the way, here's a hand grenade.
So, hey, look
mean,
over
here's
there,
an apple.
Shank.
Lorgar's scared to come out of his
shanked.
room. He's scared to come out of his room because of his the Raven.
Yep.
Turns out his Corvus Corax has actually now literally soaked so much warp energy up that he is an actual manifestation of dark terror.
Kurz will be kicking himself.
I mean, the sad irony is he actually became the thing that Kurz was, and he swore he'd never become.
So, I will never be like Kurz. Now watch me be exactly like Kurz. Because fuck you, Dad. Stain plays in the background, you know. If anyone remembers them. No? Just me? Okay.
Right, so John Grammaticus is on Terra. Good, that leaves some things possible.
Yep.
The Astronomicon is a nuke, and they're a traitor guard on Terra.
Oh, and old
Yes,
old
fine.
women are doing the spook. That's why they're not surprised by men just popping out of the warp.
Pretty much. Oh, this also explains as to why Khan the Betrayer is only wearing one arm fully armoured, and the other's just bare. Because he gets into a fight with Sigismund, and Sigismund breaks the armour to reveal overly bulging muscles with veins the size of taut cabling. And it's like, Jesus fucking Christ. So yeah,
But that doesn't explain why he didn't put more armor over it.
he was too angry to do so, probably.
Karn, also
Oh,
known as Captain Power Squat Thrust.
And then Khan tries to fight Dorn, and Dorn literally bitch slaps him several meters into the air. Granted, he bitch slapped him with a chainsaw, but still, it counts.
I mean,
You might be good, Khan, but you're not a
It was described
Primarch.
as knocking him back several meters through the air. So, be proud of that one, Burke.
yeah.
And I think my internet's cut out again. Has it not? No. Okay.
Nope.
And then Perturabo and Dorn meet on a field of battle, and then Dorn just fucks off.
Oh,
They don't actually fight.
it's probably because Dorn was
Like,
like,
Dorn-
it's not the right time.
Like, Perturabo's just being smug, just leaning on Forgebreaker, going like, hello, brother. So, are we meant to brawl now? Like, just fight and roll around in the dirt? And Dorn just goes like, you may be a brawler, but I'm actually a trained swordsman. And Perturabo's like, listen here, you little shit.
So Perturabo is properly Chris Jerichoing it up.
Pretty much, and Dorn pretty much just tells him to go fuck off. And then he buggers off by himself.
That is so apt.
I mean, to be fair, if you think about it, Dorn played a little bit of 3D chess there. He knew by not engaging in that fight, he would piss Perturabo off even more.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Laughs in Iron Cage.
Listen,
though a number of other Iron Warriors got really pissed off when Perturabo arrived, because it's like, hang on, we did all the fucking hard work and now you're showing up to take all the credit. Fuck you, Dad.
That also sounds like Perturabo.
It's like, this is the shit you complain about the Emperor for doing, you know? Now you're doing it to us. Fucking hypocrite.
Chaos is laden and riddled with hypocrisy.
Oh,
Yes,
yes.
the thing is, Perturabo at some point just kind of stopped caring.
Oh, and also, Zardu Laik blows himself up in front of Rogal Dorn, just so he can summon some bloodletters.
Wait, I just heard blows himself.
Yeah, Zardu Laik also does that as well. You know, that's how he summons Slaneshi demons.
Oh, God. I heard forgive me.
He effectively suicide bombs himself in front of Dorn.
Ah.
But before he does, he turns to Abaddon and goes like, by the way, you've got a destiny! Woo! And Abaddon's like,
Is Zardu Laik the one you hate again?
Zardu Laik, no. It's Gendor Scrivox the one I hate. But thankfully, he's no longer exists in the Horus Heresy because he got fucked off into the warp after being French kissed by a horse. And I wish I was making that up, by the way. That's actually canon. Well, horse-headed demon, but still.
Right.
But yeah, he got French kissed by it.
Good to know.
But yes, what else happened? Iron Warriors being grumpy, Dawn being very angry at Sigismund all the time.
There was also a mission where Abaddon went shield busting or something.
Oh yeah, they were basically trying to be the Shiv, try and take the Lionsgate spaceport. Overall, they did actually succeed because the lawyers were forced to pull back to the next wall.
Because of course they did, because the plot demands it.
Of course. But yeah, Abaddon was just more pissed off with Zardu Laik going on about his destiny. You will serve the Chaos Gods, Abaddon!
No, I won't. But yes, I actually will.
Yeah, pretty much. And also I want to point out how... Because I know a few people on Reddit have been asked... Well, a few people have been asking me to do a video on this particular Reddit topic. Because there's a lot of people who believe that the Black Templars are the Second Legion and not related to Dawn at all. I know, bit weird.
Those people need to actually be put into the fire.
I do want to point out how this book specifically states that Rogal Dorn is Sigismund's gene father. So that will pretty much debunk it off the bat.
Yes, but as we've come to learn, apparently, being someone's dad does not make them their dad.
See the Soul Drinkers.
True. But again, considering this is at a time when, you know, the Primarchs are still running around, and if Rogal Dorn refers to someone as their gene father...
Has Sigismund donned the mantle of the Black Templar yet?
Well, he leads a unit known as the Templars.
Yeah, sort of. I remember Dawn.
He's basically preparing himself to be the Emperor's champion, in a sense.
Yeah, because I remember Dawn got super annoyed at Sigismund for admitting that he chose not to go to Istvan Fowl, whichever, and basically sent him out in a massive rage, but kept him as first captain and said, "You are going out there to duel the finest champions the traitors have got, and we'll see what happens."
At this point, Dawn's basically...
Your penance is to do your duty.
At this point, Dawn's basically saying to Sigismund, you know, don't let that stupid shit that you're afraid to kill is saying to you go to your fucking head, you little shit. Just do what you're fucking told. That's basically what Dawn's saying to Sigismund. Do what you're fucking told, and Sigismund doesn't. He goes like, hey, we can actually take this. It's like, I told you to do this. Yeah, but we can take this and hold it from the trays. For fuck's sake, Sigismund, just do what you're fucking told. Alright, I'll go. But yeah. Have I cut out?
No, I'm just not sure how to follow up.
I'm just trying to think about how the one scene where Dorn was so mad he was able to talk in a whisper, yet somehow actually shake the building.
He was just doing like a death metal crow, like, listen, or something. I don't know.
I mean, Sigismund was like actually on the ground coughing blood up, and he was, after getting slapped so hard, he was hurled across the room.
So at least Khan took it like a man.
Well, yeah, he also gave Dorn his sword and said, "Kill me," and then Dorn drove the sword like 3 feet into marble.
Yeah. I mean, regardless of what you think of the Primarchs, they are scary when they're angry, considering all the, near godlike power they fucking have. I mean, if Angron can, hold up a fucking Titan by its leg.
Yeah, it's interesting because obviously 40k paints the Space Marines as this unstoppable demigods of war, and then you see them next to the Primarchs and you're just like, oh. Wow, okay, the Primarchs are just on some other stratosphere, aren't they?
Pretty much.
Like that time when Guilliman proceeded to stop a assassination attempt by flipping a desk over at speeds literally greater than human comprehension.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
What?
Yeah, because that's when the athletes
remember that?
disguised themselves as Ian and Theo on that.
A bunch of word bearers stole Ultramarine armor, went to go visit him, and he realized something was off. And he flipped his desk over so fast that not even the Space Marines who were trying to kill him knew what was happening.
Right.
Sorry, my internet cut out. I missed most of that.
We're talking about Guilliman's super speed desk.
Yeah, all I heard was the desk and then it cut out.
So, do you remember when Guilliman flipped the desk over so fast, the Space Marines that were trying to kill him didn't know what was going on?
Yeah, that was when the Alpha Legion just turned up disguised as Aeon and Theo's squad.
Yeah.
Which book was that again, remind me?
Unremembered Empire.
That was Unremembered Empire, was it? Right, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Guilliman was just as time he sat there, jaw in disbelief, realizing that these were not his men, or this was not his friend. He proceeds to flip a desk over so fast. More importantly, I want to note that the desk was thick enough to stop multiple bolt gun rounds.
How thick was this fucking desk? More importantly, what was it made of?
I don't know, but apparently it was able to stop entire magazines worth of bolter rounds from multiple Space Marines.
So I'm assuming it's a 6-foot deep granite slab or something.
This is Ultramar. They probably have super hard space nonsense.
It was wood. The desk was wood, and he said, no, Guilliman actually was he was glad that the desk was made of sturdy wood.
Hang on, so it got RPG'd 200 times and didn't break.
I mean, in fairness, it's still more believable than that shit with the Goto novels where, a Fire Dragon's fusion blaster can't melt a wooden barricade.
I mean, yes.
Because it's radiation.
Even though it can melt a fucking Land Raider.
Don't forget that. It's made of radiation.
Made of radiation.
Yes. All heat is radiation.
No, the wood is made of radiation.
Oh, God.
It's just radioactive wood. It's what allows the Terminator to do backflips.
Oh, please.
Oh, speaking of Goto, there's actually is a segue to something.
Oh, hang on. Are we done with First Wall?
Yes.
Okay. Close spoilers.
So, yeah. So, going back to the topic of Goto, I am going somewhere with this. I managed to get a copy of the Adeptus Sororitas Codex, because someone on eBay was selling it for £15. So, thank you for that.
When?
It's actually just a really, really clever fake. You've been rused.
If it is, it's a bloody good condition one, I'll tell you that now.
And if it's got the lore, who cares?
Exactly. But in the section detailing the Orders Minoris, it has the Order of the Golden Light. That's a Goto creation, because it's from one of the Dawn of War novels. So one of the Goto... So some of Goto's lore is recanonized, as it were.
Oh, dear.
Yes, this particular order confirmed to have been destroyed at least twice. They have martyred themselves in battle, and yet they reappeared in a nearby war zone, all fine, being to the fact that everyone's been resurrected by the Emperor, apparently.
Well, I guess they call that plot filler.
It's kind of like the Force in Star Wars. It's the warp in 40K. It just happened.
I think
Why? We don't know.
Warp Ex Machina is a thing.
I think
yeah.
the most mental of these minor orders, though, is the Order of the Wounded Heart. They'll strip the skin off their hands just so they can feel the pain of St. Luca.
What?
The Sisters of the
stupid.
Wounded Heart deglove their own right hands, ritually stripping them of skin to keep the flesh and nerves raw. In this way, they feel Lucas's pain whenever they grip their weapon and pull the trigger, allowing them to meditate on the saint's excruciation as they unleash death upon the faithless.
That is a special type of fanaticism.
Insane.
That is borderline like chaos worship bullshit.
Give me the pain.
Yeah. That's about one step away from Slanesh.
That's like, how is the Inquisition not stepped in on this and like, being a flagellate is actually borderline chaos worship.
They'll be
saying.
accused of being a heretic thing and then shot.
And then the entire order will be wiped out for shooting an Inquisitor in the face.
Yeah, pretty much. Oh, and also, I managed to get a copy of the Dark Imperium anthology from, what year was this fucking thing from? It was very, very old. 2001. To the point you can't actually get most of these stories on Black Library. And
Right.
in one of these stories, the main character is got the most 40k name of all time.
Oh no.
Nathan. Not Nathaniel.
Nathan.
Just Nathan. Just Nathan. I mean, to be honest,
Next you're gonna tell me Nathan had a John Wick style shootout in a seedy bar.
well, I don't know about that, but it's in the story. Oh, what's it called? I found it here. Called Ancient History by Andy Chambers, and the main character's called Nathan. So yeah. Also, there's a shipman's labour chart if you're interested. Since you like Navy stuff.
I'm sorry, what?
There's
a what?
A shipman's labour chart.
Oh.
As in, from people going on ships.
What do we do with a drunken voidsman?
Is my internet dying again?
Something like that. Hello? Am I alone? I appear to be alone.
Rem died again.
It appears
am I
as though
back?
Rem has died.
Am I back?
Oh, there he is. He's alive and well, everybody.
Am I back?
Yes.
Yes.
Right. What did you hear last?
Do you want to hear a shipman's chant? And I proceeded to go, what do you do with a drunken voidsman?
Not quite. It's like, cross the stars and fight for glory, but wear the heaven's wrath. Take your salt and hear a shipman's story. Listen to tales of the gulf, of stars that sing and worlds what lie beyond the ghosts of the rim. But remember, lads, there ain't no words for every void-born thing. I probably butchered that, but still. Yeah.
It's basically, hey, you're going to see some wacky shit out here.
Yeah. Oh, and also, one of these stories has the best name ever. High Fleet Horror.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that name rings a bell.
It's almost like Darth Batty.
I just love the very last passage of this particular story. Where is it? Galaxies condensed, blazed, then gutted out. The supposedly immortal Chaos Gods would not even last that long. They would only perish when the psyches which sustain them died out. Only the Tyranids lasted forever.
That doesn't mean... Well, there is a physical endpoint to their matter. I can...
Allegedly.
Okay.
Yeah,
Once we reach the state of in the galaxy, or the universe of atomic decay, yes, the Tyranids will die. I don't care what they say.
Which comes first, the extinction of the Tyranids or the heat death of the universe?
Also, it's got a nice little way to describe the Nids from an in-universe perspective. The Tyranids were what ants and termites would be if they could evolve further and become intelligent.
Intelligent is used loosely here.
Yeah. Oh, wait. Intelligence, like everything else, served only Tyranid hive instincts. Or rather, it served the single great Tyranid instinct, the one overwhelming compulsive urge, and in all capitals, survive and survive forever.
Uh-huh.
You gotta
Right.
love like late 90s, early 2000s writing, ain't you? And let's be honest, it has the best. This also has the greatest Khan the Betrayer story ever, called The Wrath of Khan.
Oh.
It's by Bill King. It's a good story. It's the one where
Okay.
it's the one where he fights a Slanesh champion who has a penis sword.
Oh. What is
Right,
this,
enough
Vivek?
I'm not,
Is their name Vivek?
what is it? No, he's not actually given a name. But he's described as having an obscenely shaped sword.
Just it's not really an obscure reference, but it's a reference to Elder Scrolls lore.
Oh, okay.
So
Right.
Vivek from Elder Scrolls basically he ripped his own junk off and made a giant sword out of it.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, here we go. His right hand held an obscenely shaped rune sword which glowed with blasphemous light. I remember showing that passage to Oculus Imperia, and he just replied with that gif saying, "That's a penis."
That's a penis,
That's a penis.
basically.
Aren't you happy, Michael? This isn't going on your channel this week.
I'd have shut you down before this even got started if it was going on my channel.
In fairness, I am talking about something that's canon.
I know it's canon.
Penis swords are canon.
I know.
I mean, there are many things that we could talk about that are canon. Have you? I don't know if I should mention this one.
You're going to be talking about the Demon Kalaba.
No. You wish.
Oh no.
Should I mention it?
Only if you do it in full Dawn voice.
I feel like the audience will not forgive you if you don't do it now.
Have you ever heard of the Four Demons?
Okay, stop.
Yeah, I've heard worse.
No.
I mean,
There's actually...
I've seen that
there's
scene in
actually a-
Demonifuge where the navigator's actually having sex with a Celeste demon, and it's all really fucked up looking.
Oh, God.
That's going to be in full colour as well, I just realised, with the re-release of Demonifuge.
Oh, is that the one where the Slaanesh demons got their fingers drived under their skin into their right on top of their skull?
And like it's got also got a tentacle going in their mouth, and the guy's going, "Don't stop."
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's going to be in
That
full
guy.
colour.
Right.
That's going to be in full colour.
Assuming they don't just remaster it a little.
They bloody well better not.
Also, the fact we're getting a sequel to that now.
I know. I'm so fucking happy about that because Demonifuge is fucking awesome.
This video is impure. Purify it.
I mean, unclean. Purify it.
We need the Magnus battery.
Oh,
The Energizer Magnus. It just keeps going and
God.
going and going. Oh, but
Oh, God.
but speaking of Dawn,
What other good-
speaking of Dawn though,
Yeah.
because one thing I did notice recently when looking up information about Rogal Dorn himself, after the Horus Heresy, Jagatai Khan just gave Rogal Dorn 12 stallions as a token of brotherhood. It's like, here you go, brother, here's 12 horses.
I have no idea what to do with this, but I appreciate your friendship, brother. I will take care of these equine beasts to the greatest of my ability.
Will you fortify a stable for them?
I will build the greatest stable. I am the greatest stable builder in the galaxy. Serf, bring me my tools and 80,000 laborers.
Had to be done.
of course.
Does that mean it's time for questions?
Heck, is that the time?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Hit me with the questions.
40 minutes already, or something like that. Yeah, we got very, very sad. We haven't even talked about anything that's happened in the year at all for the hobby. So yeah, let's get on to
Just watch the
questions.
previous episodes.
One of the questions was any plans of having Lord Adorable on the podcast. So convenient, yes. Right, Rem, have you read Faith and Fury yet?
No.
Okay, leave that one. Well, actually, nah, I'll go with it. So, according to Faith and Fury, I don't know whether this is a spoiler, but it's not long enough I can get away with it. The Wordbearers and Night Lords are now, and I quote, gathering in strength and dealing significant damage to the Imperium. given this, does that mean the Night Lords have rebuilt the Legion, and them plus the Wordbearers are now the bigger threat than the Black Legion?
I really doubt the Night Lords would have rebuilt the Legion at all, considering that, no one in the Night Lords will follow anyone other than Sevatar at this point, and Sevatar is officially dead. I think it's more likely that it might be one of the larger Night Lord warbands. Like, it could be Krieg Acerbuses, which is supposedly the biggest Night Lords warband. So, it could just be his.
Right, yeah, I haven't read Faith and Fury, so I don't know who leads the Night Lords in that.
Yeah, I can't say, but I would assume it'd be that in that case.
Yeah, that would make sense. Right, sticking with Chaos, which Chaos Legion will get the first homegrown Chaos Primaris?
Whichever one Fabius Bell decides to sell them to.
No.
So the Black Legion.
No, it's going to be, I guarantee it's going to be the Corsairs. Or Black
They're
Legion.
not a Legion, technically. But
I would have to...
we're being technical.
Okay. Black Legion will be the first, let's be honest. It's like... It's Tweedledee.
They can afford it.
They're, at the present moment, the Tweedledee to the Tweedledum of the space, of the Ultramarines.
That's one way of describing it.
There's no better way to put it. They're both idiots.
I'm sure Gilliman will take kindly to being called an idiot.
And then GW just decides to swerve and say, surprise, here's an Ultima found chapter that fell to chaos.
My brother Gilliman.
Just say homegrown.
My brother Gilliman truly is the epitome of stupidity. Sorry,
I'll tell his voice actor that.
the day it'd be interesting if TTS ever decides to follow up the Yvrain, because obviously they've made reference with Eldrad going to Goharia and the Emissary and all that, as to whether they'll follow along the Gilliman plot thread. And if they do, oh, hang on a minute. Wait, hang on. Gilliman's conversation with the Emperor that happened at the end of Gathering Storm. No one knows what was inside the Golden Throne Room.
It was the Emperor screaming really loudly.
That could be...
Why wasn't your life support turned off?
Actually, is Kitten... No, he's on Mars right now. Captain General, why, how is Gilliman here? I told you to turn his life support off years ago. Well... And Gilliman's just there like, what?
You should be dead, Gilliman. I'm alive, Father, and I feel great. In fact, I feel the greatest.
Have you met my big titty goth girlfriend?
To which Magnus goes, how are you even alive? To which Gilliman says, I was killed and then resurrected through Eldar magic.
She is now my wife.
And
we
Magnus
have a kid together. His name's...
To which Magnus turns around, looks at them and says, and you thought I was the one doing illegal sorcery?
I don't know. I feel like
in
Magnus
fairness,
would
Gilliman
more
wasn't doing the sorcery. He had it done to him.
I genuinely want to say that I feel like Magnus in that case would actually feel really petty and just go like, you think your parlor tricks can mean anything around here? Behold!
Then the Ranger says, I can reverse the rubric. Fuck!
You have my attention and my erection.
Yeah, I can't wait for the eventually when the road trip ends and you've got Corvus, Vulcan, Dorn, Magnus, Lehman.
Oh god,
all in the same room.
I want to talk about a spoiler so bad, but I can't.
Right. Yeah, I feel like that we're getting close to the Lehman Magnus reunion. That is going to be...
It's going to be...
explosive.
It's going to be... I feel like it's going to be interesting. Fucking ridiculous. I think that it may not go in the way that people would think it's going to go.
Which would be Magnus Zergs out and they have a massive fight and then they have to be calmed down.
Yeah.
That's the sort of expected response.
That's sort of
especially
like the expected response, but I feel like just because it would throw people through a loop, that Magnus deliberately mentally prepares himself for the idea of seeing his brother and not instantly trying to kill him. Even though at the mention of the wolves, he hulked out in episode 21. And when Lehman heard about Magnus, you just hear that
roar of just fury. So it will be interesting, to say the least. Actually, it must be really difficult for you guys, particularly if you're in an episode and prevalently feature in the plot of an episode, to just know, because Alpha's going to do so much editing and rendering and dubbing and fixing and tweaking and then all of that stuff, having to sit on huge revelations for months.
Yeah. It's
obviously we can't
it's
comment on
definitely
that,
a
but
thing.
yeah.
There's like a bunch of things that I personally would like to see done or have all the Primarchs individually do, but obviously I'm but a voice actor. I can really only give my opinion on Dorn and characters tied into him. Very, very happy that Boy is a thing, honestly. Personally. I am personally very happy with it. Despite, Kochia, if you ever listen to this part of the podcast, and I pray hope you don't, I love Boy. As much as we may have had the initial disagreement when I very, very, very heavily insisted he be kept around and you were like, no, I'm very glad that you've let him stay around. Thank you.
I think everyone loves Boy. He is adorable.
He's so precious, and he's just. I really needed Dorn to be his like adoptive father.
That's fair. I'm curious, with the Black Templar podcast episode, whose idea was it to call Helbrecht, have Dorn call every Black Templar Sigismund?
I have no idea, but I don't agree with that.
Fair enough.
I mean, look, I am a voice. At the end of the day, I can give an opinion, but that opinion is ultimately write-offable. You can write my opinion. It's like what they did to I'm blanking on his name super hard right now. Luke Skywalker,
Mark Hamill.
his actor.
Oh, Hamill.
Yeah, Mark Hamill. It's like how he had actually written what he thought happened to Luke after Star Wars. Like, what had happened, like, how he thought things went. And the writing team and the director basically listened to him, patted him on the back, and said, "That's nice, go over there."
Oof.
You know, at the end of the day, I'm an actor. In this particular project, all I can really do is put forth a suggestion, and if they take it, they take it. If they don't, they don't.
Yeah, I guess...
Go ahead.
Sorry. I just, because as someone who isn't involved in TTS at all, I know Rem is and I'm not. I don't know... I know Alpha's got overall creative control because he's Alpha, but I don't know... I know, like, Thunder's got an involvement, Failsnake does a lot, but I don't know how far down the chain everyone sits and what contributions that allows them to make or not make or whatever. And I'm not going to ask you to detail that because that's not really anybody's business. It's just something I don't know because I'm not involved in it.
I mean, I feel like it is okay that I can probably bring up like a little bit of the creative process for text-to-speech, only because it's... like, some people have the wrong idea about how things are done in text-to-speech. Rem, should I probably stop talking about this?
I mean, so long as we don't actually, spoil anything for upcoming episodes, I don't think it would be an issue. I don't think Alpha would mind.
All right, let's just not
so long as we're not spoiling anything in regards to plot and stuff.
Let's not spoil anything. But essentially, from what I'm aware of, and I like 99% sure this is how it is. There's a general, typically like a lore discussion surrounding a premise that interests the main writer or writers. Typically, Alpha Buzet does. He has what he calls the plot Bible now. I won't go any further than he has a Bible that he runs by, and the writers sort of go off of that. They piece together a general skeleton, he reviews it and approves it or makes edits, and then it goes to a series of sub-writers who kind of fill in the detail work. And and they're like the nitpicky, they're the more nitpicky kind of writers, where they really like get into the super more detailed lines, whereas the general writers will write a rough sketch that's maybe like 10, 15 pages long, and then the sub-writers will like squeeze in an extra 50 pages, 80 pages of just lines. And then Alpha and the chief writers review that, and then it gets approved, and any final changes or suggestions are made by the people who may be voice acting or just thrown out there for like recommended changes amongst the creative group. And that's kind of how an episode is made. The animating process is not something I'm familiar with, so I can't really go into that. But I do know that it is incredibly complicated, and a single like 6 seconds of animation, I believe, is a day's worth of work for the animation team, just because of how small they are and with the type of quality that Alpha's trying to go towards. It takes a lot of time to make these episodes. That's all I can.
If I remember, in regards to like the editing process, didn't Alpha say like you know that episode where the purging of my kin bit with the Black Templar stabbing everyone? Those like few seconds took him like 8 hours to edit. Yeah,
it was nuts, because the thing is, like, you can do original episode 1 of text-to-speech style animation, which is okay if you're just really sort of lore vomiting. But when you're trying to, with where the direction of the show has shifted away from the lore vomiting and more into an actual fan-written story, being realistic, because that's what it is at this point. That incorporates elements of lore vomiting, but in a more storytelling sense, that's sort of how it has to be. You have to go for a step up in quality if you're going to be making an actual story out of it, as opposed to just, I'm shaking pictures on a screen and funny things are happening.
Yeah.
As kind of like a sub thing. Rem, I know you are brought in with great regularity as a double checker and a interesting story point guy. Like, you really bring up a lot of, like, hey guys, if you weren't paying attention to 40k stuff, this happened recently in lore.
Yeah, I remember when everyone got really excited when I pointed out the whole Ferris mouse eating sand thing.
Yes, that was the thing.
Just like, we can't help but be amused by certain things that are canon, but just so stupid at the same time. It's like, we need to find a way to actually incorporate this as a joke somehow, because it's too good not to.
Like Mortarion falling down the stairs.
Yeah, I listened to when Zegrim said that and Magnus said it, and the ladder which had fallen down the stairs, and he keeps laughing through the next line, and it's like, I know obviously that you're giving quite a lot of direction in how you say a line, but it's just like, that almost feels so much like it was just an ad-lib.
Yeah, I mean, there's been a couple of ad-lib lines amongst all the voice actors that have really been highly quoted. I don't know why Dorn... I don't know. I kind of, like, most of the time during my sessions, I'll actually, like, in mid-record, I'll be like, this line, could we do it this way instead? And it tends to work out. So I'm happy about that.
One of the few ad-lib lines I'm aware of was Zegrim going about like, I identify with Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, or something to that effect, and Alpha kept that in, and Zegrim was like, you bastard!
Oh, God. But in terms of where the story's going, or where it's been, I mean, Rem, I got a question for you. With text-to-speech, being honest here, putting it on the table, have you had any major gripes with, like, what we've done so far? Or you, Tactica?
The only major gripe I have is the amount of people who keep leaving fucking Cyberdon comments over my videos.
Ha!
Yeah,
Oh,
I can see how
I think that's the sort of biggest risk with being a personality anyway, and then being in TTS.
Yeah, you made a highly quotable joke. Like, of course it's going to get hurled in your face a million billion times.
No, but even if you're not someone who's said something particularly meme-worthy, the fact that you've been in text-to-speech kind of, in some ways, almost eclipses everything else for some people. That's not true for everything and everyone, but particularly for Rem.
I'll just say, I now know
it's
how
all-
Victor Meldrew feels when people go up to him and say, I don't believe it.
Yeah, it's...
Except that I've yet to
like
be up
that,
an elderly Irish priest. But yeah.
Yeah. I think the one I remember when I started watching TTS about episode 15. It popped up in my home feed. I watched it in total confusion, then realised, wait, this was in the middle of a series. I don't know why I'm watching this, but I went back and watched them all and I loved it. But then episode 21 and 22 came out together. And I remember I was in the kitchen, in my flat in first year, sat there, watching episode 21 and 22, and I was fuming at what they'd done to Magnus, where it looked like they were going to turn Magnus to chaos again, or that Magnus was playing everyone the whole time. And I sat there like, you evil bastard alpha abuser. And then episode 22 happened, and it was like, oh, but I was smiling the whole time. I wasn't angry. I was just like, oh, you haven't done that, have you? No. But also, yes, because I wanted to see what happened next. So it was still good writing.
Okay, I like it. Sorry, I had to answer the door there for a second. Damn.
I guess if I have a gripe, though, it's like, where's my invite?
I don't know, man.
I don't mind either way. I don't mind that much. I don't. It's just like, right, we've got almost everyone in the community's been in this show now, and I'm just
I don't
sat
know,
here.
man. When you walk into a gaming Discord and people know who you are, or they recognize who you are based on you doing a funny voice, the immediate commentary basically boils into, hey, read this copy pasta, or hey, say the funny line.
Yeah.
It's the Bart Simpson syndrome.
Yeah,
Say the
I get
line,
that.
Dorn.
And I've been recognised a couple of times.
No.
I have been recognised a couple of times in stores for who I am as a YouTuber. It's rare, but it has happened. And it is kind of a weird thing, but I don't have many particularly quotable lines. I say some stupid stuff, but very rarely do I say it
quotable line is
twice.
smacking your head into a desk.
Yeah, my main thing was the head desk. Yeah, you're right. But I try and avoid being particularly quotable or memeable. I'm just kind of there. And it's kind of hilarious that people call me the straight guy in the show. And I'm just like,
I mean, you take Warhammer very seriously, that's clear.
There's a yeah, I think it's just because of like the way there's, particularly with the evolution of Remleiz from lore buff to ultimate meme stuff.
I prefer to have a shitposter, but hey.
Listen,
And total like episode 1 Remleiz was, well, I don't know how bad your shitposting was in episode 1, but Remleiz has evolved into full-time shitposter and meme artist who just does lore for fun.
Let's be fair here. It draws people in, it lets the content creator have fun, and it makes the content fresh and enjoyable, as opposed to, have you heard about number 15, Burger King heresy lettuce? Come on. You can't sit there and tell me that, like, hearing about kind of generic blood-crazed maniac ex-loyalist legion number 800 is entertaining. Is an entertaining listen.
That's my entire modus operandi. Lore videos are my entire
Right, but you
modus
clearly
operandi.
found a way to keep them fresh and interesting beyond just lore vomit. Am I wrong?
I guess. I mean, kinda. I guess I had a massive explosion. I just sort of ticked along, and I got to I think I got to 10k like nearly 2.5 years ago, and I've just sort of ticked along ever since. Thanks, podcast. But I've sort of branched out now, and my biggest new gimmick is the fact that because I'm a teacher and I teach science, is to sort of science up 40k, not in the way Rem and
there
Fiora
you
did
go.
with them.
Like right there. It's not just you spewing like a Wikipedia article onto a YouTube video with just 40k pictures going in the background.
Unlike certain people.
Oh God, it's just. But you get what I'm saying.
Sorry, I had to.
You get what I'm saying, though. I hope.
Mine's just
I do.
Mine's just going full tinfoil hat at this point.
You've run out of credible theories.
Is
You've
it
had
possible?
to go on tinfoil hat.
Is it possible that Predator tanks are actually a Slaneshi metaphor?
Also, I haven't actually run out yet. I've still got about 9 fucking pages worth.
Oh God, it's scary.
Oh, and also, at the time of recording, I've just hit 140k.
Ah, congratulations.
Yeah, I've just been sat just under 30k for ages, mainly because I had to abandon the channel to teach. But yeah, I know what you mean. So that it's nice to hit those milestones.
You can either eat or you can entertain. Take your pick.
Yeah, I can either teach half decent lessons or I can make YouTube
Eating
videos.
and entertaining. If you do an ASMR video, you can do both.
Please don't. Please don't. I ask.
I mean,
there's
that one dog. There's that one dog who does it. Like, was it Maya Polar Bear?
Oh,
just
God.
a dog eating ASMR.
Please.
Just here's a dog eating carrot. Just listen to a dog eating carrot going crunch, crunch, crunch.
Hang on, I'm just sorry. I'm changing the subject. I've just been reading the Christmas cracker jokes, and they've actually decided to make a custards joke about the custodes, and it's like that's basically how everyone on forums has described them for years, and now GW said that.
But the thing is, though, didn't on the Japanese site they actually have custodes as custard because of some translation error because of English lol.
Pass.
Like they actually call that the blowiness of like Brad Angle or something.
Brad Pitt, yes, the most famous Space Marine chapter.
I'm pretty sure it was actually on the Japanese site for the Games Workshop. I'm pretty sure, at least, anyway.
Well, we are hitting the 2-hour mark here, almost.
We are indeed.
And we've asked a
Yeah,
grand total
we
of
should
2
probably get
questions.
onto some more questions. I keep derailing us, my bad.
It's fine.
All right, hit me with an... do you have any questions for Dorn, or should I mean, since I am here...
Sadly, we hadn't
Damn,
announced that you were
alright.
coming.
You can answer the next
So,
one in
let's have a
full blown
look, is
character
it-
though. So
I see.
if you want to,
Right, I'll see if I can
could
find
just
something that
start
fits.
yelling at you guys in Spanish. Like, does that work?
Spanish Rogal Dorn.
That's a... there we go. I've got one. Do Imperial Fists have the best successors because they fortified their gene seed?
I mean, the meme half of that question being ripped out like a bad Band-Aid. I'm going to answer the first half, and I'm going to say unequivocally they are one of the better successors because they defied the High Lords in the sense of the Imperial Fists actually died. They were completely dead, including the Chapter Master. They were gone.
Yep.
And
Yep.
in the face of all of that, the successors came back together because they have such a strong tie back to their parent legion that yes, I would say that they may not be the best because there is no best in 40k. There is no the best, the greatest, as much as Ultramarines would like to espouse that nonsense.
Saying
But in the face of like the High Lords telling them that you can't do this, they did it anyway, and it worked. Due to how strong of a bond they have, like how pure, I guess kind of falling back to that meme half, fortified their gene seed so thoroughly that they were able to just go back to being Imperial Fists essentially at the drop of a hat.
But how do you feel about the fact that since the Imperial Fists were rebuilt using Soul Drinker gene seed, and the Soul Drinkers were confirmed to not be Imperial Fist successors, how do you feel about the fact that the modern day Imperial Fists have 2 daddies?
I mean, I could say the same thing about the Ultramarines. They technically have 2 daddies too. They have a bunch of daddies actually, because
3.
Allegedly.
Yeah, that they have absorbed
Allegedly 3, yeah.
multiple Space Marine. They absorbed loyalist remnants from the traitor legions. Like they have multiple dads
Again,
in that
allegedly.
instance. Allegedly. Yeah, I
We
mean,
have to put the caveat there.
it's like, astra sign, this may or may not, but more than likely is true.
Basically, yeah.
Ow.
Right.
That hurt. Cracked my neck. Any other questions, though?
Yeah, this one, I don't think this is a spoiler for Psychic Awakening 3, so I'm going to go with it. What are your thoughts on the hive mind feeling hatred for the Blood Angels, wanting revenge, and being incompetent in Devastation of Baal through Blood of Baal?
I mean, if the Tyranids adapted the ability as an evolutionary mechanism to feel hatred, then yes, I could see that totally happening. Like, it makes sense in the context of maybe this makes sense biologically, so we need hate to drive us further, to do crazier acts of suicidal, kill them, sort of thing. But at the end of the day, I don't really think that's in line with the way the Tyranids are generally understood as a written entity.
Yeah, and I think writing the hive mind would be basically kind of pulling back the
I mean,
curtain too
you can
much.
write the hive mind. I mean, looking at StarCraft, for example, I know, but hear me out. I mean, the Zerg, they did have kind of an interesting hierarchy, I'll say, before Kerrigan came in. And if the Tyranids sort of had that kind of semi-similar hierarchy, where you could even maybe go so far as to draw some parallels to the Necron dynasties, where each hive fleet has like a head brood, and they're all competing for the attention and effect of their alien form of quote unquote love from the hive mind.
Yeah, because I think the only time we actually got close to seeing what the hive mind itself was actually like was probably from the Dawn of War 2. Like for the mission briefings where you actually have the hive mind speaking to you.
I mean, let's not take video games as like hard lore, because
No, I'm not. I understand that, but at the same time, it's probably the closest we've actually had to something like that in any capacity in regards to the hive mind and what it's actually like.
yeah, I guess. All right.
So while it may not be, take it with a pinch of salt, granted, but it still gives you, some idea of an insight.
I'm gonna take that with a fist of salt. My bad.
Huh.
All right. I'll go for two more questions if you got two more questions, but then I do gotta get going.
Yeah, I'm getting a bit hungry. Coming back to Black Library, this is something I sort of hinted at early, right at the start of the show. Why do you think Orcs and Chaos are so often the default antagonists for Black Library?
Because they're probably the easiest to write, let's be honest.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of a given. It's 40K was when was 40K like first made, Rem?
1987.
1980
So
something?
it's the late 80s. This is the era of kind of D&D. You need to have generic bad guys. Orcs and evil are two general premises that are really easy to fall back on. I mean, it pulls from fantasy, Tolkien inspirations, and just slaps them 40,000 years in the future, where in this very first generation of 40K, Space Marines were nothing more than space cops that flew to planets they were literally Arbites, actually, now that I think about it.
Yeah, first edition 40K was weird in places. Like, having a world where you got Imperial, citizens and orcs and squats all living together on the same planet in a big society. It's like, okay then.
I'm sure, thanks to the vastness of 40K and the freedom implied in the Fantasy Flight games, I'm sure that it actually exists somewhere.
Probably does.
As dumb as that sounds, thanks to the sheer vastness of 40K as a written universe, somewhere out there is a world where Eldar, orcs, humans, squats, all live in not harmony, but some semblance of a working, functioning, soft society.
And they're governed over by Mayor Gitcrumper. This orc with like a big top hat.
Pretty much.
Sure. We need to balance the budget.
I was about to make a very politically charged comment there, but I'm going to refrain.
Yeah, given the political atmosphere in Britain and America right now, that might not.
Oh
be.
boy, let's not. Last question, quick. Let's get up.
Something. Bunny rabbits.
Yeah, there you go.
Energize the bunny. There we go. Back to
Right.
that.
Okay, let's follow up that question about default villains. Talk about which is your most and least favourite villains faction. Which factions do you most and least like to see as the villain?
I don't like seeing the Necrons as villains just because pretty much every book with the Necrons as the villains has been boring as fuck.
Yeah, I gotta agree. I gotta agree there. But I would also sort of counter with the Tau in some ways as the villains doesn't quite make sense as much as
it doesn't feel right. Does it?
It just doesn't make sense for the Tau to, through their sheer naivety, not because I'm giving them the golden branch of benefit of the doubt, but because of their race's naivety and sheltered, and how sheltered they are by the ethereals, I just can't see them at the fundamental cultural level of their society, them being written as the villains. Yes, I will fully admit that I understand that they have pogroms where they actually chemically sterilize Imperials, and then they try to force them through re-education camps. That's not good guy things. But this is 40k. This is as close as you can technically get to good guy things.
Yeah.
This is miles above Goje Vandire, where he actually had planet-scale rape gulags and actual extermination planets, which were nothing but giant furnaces.
I think the way you write the Tau as villains, and I've seen them written as villains a few times, and as protagonists and heroes as well. One of the easiest ways to make the Tau the villain is to take the Tau Empire out of the equation. Make it about one ethereal, one commander going out and doing their thing for sort of their own advancement as well as the Empire. So Deathwatch Shadowbreaker, brilliant example. A Tau commander and an ethereal are working in cahoots with a rogue inquisitor to create Tau Genestealer hybrids in order to try and defeat
and we all know
the Tyranids.
That entire thing is born of naivety and ignorance. The ethereal thinks that he can control or have some sort of executable power over these Genestealer hybrids. It's not going to happen.
And they do for 95% of the book because they keep them in a Gellerfield. So they've got it in hand until the Space Marines show up and ruin it. But it is interesting because the Tau... I really like seeing the Tau written as villains because sometimes, unless you're writing it from a first-person point of view, as an Imperial who has a very fixed Imperial mindset, trying to watch a writer not quite bend over backwards to make the Tau not feel like the good guys, but also write them in such a way that you get what they're going for and you understand their message is a really interesting balance because they're not villains. They're the enemy, but they're not.
There you go.
Villains.
That's a good way to word it.
I think probably my least favorite is probably the Tyranids. Because as much as you say with Necrons it's boring, every time I read a book with Tyranids, it's a case of, okay, we show up, we fight, they bring bigger stuff, we start dying, we run away. They never, you can't beat them.
It's like a case of boring
Almost.
versus repetitive.
Yeah. But for favorite villain, I am going to say I actually enjoy I enjoy the Iron Warriors, actually. I really personally enjoy reading about the burning, almost, if you read them long enough, justified hatred they hold in their heart for Rogal.
Have you read Siege of Castellax?
Yes, that's the one where they break into...
It's the one where they're the protagonists.
Yeah, they break into the Imperial Fortress, and then the Imperial Fists show up, and then the Imperial Fists get their ass kicked.
No, that's not... No.
Isn't Castellax the one where they're fighting orcs?
Yeah, Castellax is the one where they're defending their world against orcs.
No, I have not seen that one. I'll have to read it,
It was in
though.
the Space Marine Battle series. It's a few years old now. But... is it a spoiler?
I don't really mind
it's
spoilers.
The one where the Iron Warriors break into the Imperial Fist. Is that Maladrax?
Possibly.
No.
But Castellax...
I'm not certain. The one I'm thinking of is where the Iron Warriors engage in a brutal siege of a really hard, even for their standards, to crack open fortress.
Storm of Iron?
I think that's it.
Yeah, but in Castellax toward the end, there is a twist where a teleporting Space Marine arrives inside out.
Ew.
And also some of them are teleported inside solid rock, I think, because of shenanigans.
Yeah, and, oh god, that sounds awful.
On its own it sounds awful, but it is really well set up, and the book itself is brilliant.
Oh,
because it's
actually,
watching these uncaring...
Sorry, it's going back to the teleporting into solid rock. This may sound like a very stupid question, but do they explode?
I can't remember. It's been far too long since I read
of the
it.
times that I've ever read 40k teleportation mishaps happening, and I have read it a few times, they just merge with the material.
Because I'm going back to the second edition shock attack gun description, like, oh, so and so, like...
That's not a teleporter, that's a warp rift.
Yeah, that's...
Isn't that...
That's a micro warp rift.
Same thing, but different.
Yeah, but isn't that... They do operate via a teleport... Well, warp rift is basically teleportation in a way, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's going from one port of the battlefield to the other.
But it's...
Because, like, there was, like, a misfire thing of, like, the target gets launched into the middle of solid rock, and because the two molecules can't combine, it just causes a massive explosion or something to that effect.
Right, okay.
That was my point.
No,
I don't remember.
New lore basically has it so that they merge with the actual material.
Right. Okay. That's fair enough.
Yeah.
More explosions, though.
But yeah, Siege of Castellax is old, but it's good. Trying to paint these sadistic, uncaring, undoubtedly evil Space Marines as the protagonists trying to defend their world, if not its people, against a ginormous orc war. It is really interesting.
I mean,
we still need a full.
That's what's so good about the Iron Warriors. It's their calculated, unfeeling and uncaring. It's not that it's undeliberate like the Necrons would be. It's done very deliberately. It's a complete removal of their humanity because of what they were and what they've become. That's why I love them so much as villains, because they're true villains to me. They're real villains. They're not just generic steamroll of evil. It is, they do what they do for a purpose, and there's a reason behind everything. We're sending the prisoners we've gathered in truckfuls across the field to attack the fortress. Why? Because we want to A, clear out landmines, and B, figure out their firing zones. We don't actually... Otherwise, we would be using them for labor. But this is a far more efficient use of our resources. It's so mechanically brutal, their villainy. That's what I love about it.
And also Iron Warrior sass.
And Iron Warrior sass, yes, of course. The fact that they are willing to not readily mutate themselves and succumb to chaos is another thing of why I love them. Because they're villains that act on villainy of their own powers and ability as opposed to using something as a crutch. Though they will use the warp, I mean, they'll use it in some extent, they won't, like, make that their thing.
I don't know if this surprised me, though, is the fact that out of all the traits of legions, the Emperor's children seem to be the ones who don't actually have much in the way of novels about them, with them as a protagonist.
How do you write them?
It's literally... Dude, I wrote that one joke paragraph, and everybody was revolted in the text-to-speech Discord. Like, but that's essentially how you would have to write an Emperor's speech novel. I mean, Emperor's children. Sorry, I'm tired.
Yeah, I mean, there's Lucius the Faultless Blade, which I haven't read, and there's the Fabius Bile novel, but he's not really the Emperor's children anymore.
Literally, it's this. Lucius fights man. Lucius loses. Lucius possesses man. Lucius gets erection because he killed man. Sorry, he's so one-dimensional in how he's been written that it would be very hard to break him out of that. Because...
Yeah, and the Emperor's children have almost been boxed into this corner of sex, drugs, and rock and roll.
They're literal sex goblins.
with the exception of Fabius Bile.
Well, Fabius Bile is psychotic. Well, he's
Dr. Frankenstein.
He's the mad scientist of 40k. Let's be real here. No one is more mad scientist than Fabius Bile. When you start experimenting on your fellow prisoners to the point where the homunculus are like, hey, we could use this guy.
Yeah, if homunculi are coming knocking on your door, or you are willing to train you, then you are a different kind of
I saw the fact that homunculi were like going, hey kid, we like your style.
Hey kid, catch. Throws him a severed head.
Now help us build our tower of flesh, and no, that's not a euphemism.
You go to sleep on a Drukhari operating table, you wake up, your entire body's just replaced with eyeballs.
That's probably happened.
I can see into the future.
Now the enemy will never sneak up on me.
I was just trying to reference that weird Wooloo video.
Oh god.
You know the one I'm talking about, where it just reveals the third eye.
I do. Anyway,
I love that guy's work. It's so fucked up and creepy. I love it.
It's been 2 hours. Yeah, I do gotta go here, guys. It's been fun. I've had a great time.
Yeah.
But it's been 2 hours and almost 20 minutes on my end.
Yeah, this I think is I think this is the longest Podcastus that wasn't a special. Although it is the Christmas special, so close enough.
We'll go and thank you everyone for joining us for this episode, and we apologise for how long it was, but since it was a Christmas episode...
we don't.
What do you mean, no we don't? No we don't what?
Remember, the first show was an hour and a half and we went to 2 hours immediately. Why not run long? I can live without food.
Listen, I try to be an interesting conversationalist. I hope I was able to deliver on that today. Thank you for listening, everybody. Subscribe to both Rem and my buddy Tactica here. Both great guys. The best. They know everything about 40k lore, and I know that you want to know more. So go to them, boys.
So, until next time, this has been Remleiz from 40k Theories.
This has been Tactica Imperialis.
And I'm Rogal Dorn, wishing you well this holiday season.
See you next decade.
And goodbye.